Good day, and as usual, I hope you had a sober and alcohol-free weekend. Today, I want to talk about common sense. It is said that common sense is a sound and prudent judgment based on simple perceptions of the situation or facts. Common sense is the basic level of practical knowledge and judgment that we all need to help us live in a reasonable and safe way. But one thing I've come to learn over time is that common sense is neither common nor is it sense. Because if common sense was common, then people would not be eating junk food, people would not be smoking cigarettes, people would not gamble, people would not do a multitude of things that they normally do. And all these things that they do are obviously never good for them. If common sense was actually common, I, Kenneth Okubo, would never have ended up being a drunkard, and I would not have been posting about this today or in any other time, because I actually used common sense. But then common sense is something that actually we are not born with. Common sense is developed over time because it helps us to analyze situations. You see, we all would want to live in a world where everybody is truly well-mannered. But because life is life, there will always be bad people here and there. There will always be people who lack common sense, who are not mindful in any common situation. Because, let's be logical, not everybody can be of average height, not everyone can be of average weight, not everybody can be of average temperament, even personality, and not everybody has average or the same cognitive abilities. We have people of different social status, but all people, everyone thinks they are average or above average. This is called the Lake-Wobegon effect. And that is what makes everyone not have common sense, because everybody thinks what they deem sensible is what should be sensible for everybody. But it is a fact. No one is born with common sense. Common sense is something that is developed over time, and it follows the way you are brought up, culture, your education level, how you survived. There are a lot of things that lead up to one having a concept or an idea of common sense, because it is largely based on human experience and a person's individual perception, and that is why it differs from person to person. Somebody will tell you logically that if you are not drinking, you don't smoke, if you don't gamble, you don't do one or two things, then your life will be very boring, because for them it is common. Those things they are doing are just okay, they're sensible. But to somebody else, if you are a liar, you cheat, you're unfaithful, no, that is not common, that is not sensible. It depends on where you come from, your upbringing, your religion, your convictions. The common sense is ambiguous. It lacks clear guidelines. There are actually no clear guidelines on earth about how you're supposed to behave. So it's about the interpretation of a person, so it differs from person to person. And the general consensus is that people are never going to likely to agree as to what common sense is. So, as for me, I've come to the realization that common sense, those are my kids. I've come to the realization that common sense for me demands that I quit drinking alcohol. Common sense demands that I become responsible for the well-being of my family. It is good for me to see that my family is happy. When I was drinking, I'd spend most of my money buying alcohol and forget about my family. So that is part of what common sense is for me. And common sense has something to do with the consequences of our actions. Common sense helps us from making irrelevant mistakes. Common sense makes it easier for us to make choices that are logical and for the well-being of ourselves and the people who matter to us. So, if today you think it is common for you to drink alcohol and waste away your life, I beg you to rethink your sense of commonness and look at things differently, because common sense is always not common, but general well-being of anybody, it's more common, and it cuts across the board. We all need to be healthy, to be well-mannered, to do things that help us progress, not things that diminish us and makes us to lose focus, lose our self-esteem, lose our sense of well-being. And alcohol and drugs are things that make us not become the persons we are meant to be. So today, let's have common sense and do what is right for us.